Are you going to meet Davin? I was dressed in a blue dress with white polka dots. Mom looked at my new dress apprehensively. Yes. You look too dressed up for a casual date. I'm hoping for a not so casual date. Oh, honey, I hope that boy stands up to your hopes. I gave Mom a smile as I closed the door behind me. I had been dating Davin for 3 years, but as things progressed, my mom told me that she doesn't feel that he's the guy to settle down for. I pushed aside her doubts. Davin and his family were a little bit difficult, but I was willing to compromise for him. It felt worth all the time we had put in our relationship. Davin's car was parked just outside our house, and as I hopped into it, he gave me a peck on my cheek. You look beautiful, Heather. I smiled at him as we drove ahead. I noticed the roses peeking in the rearview mirror from the boot of the car, and suddenly felt a rush of butterflies in my stomach. Davin drove me to the beach and asked me to close my eyes before we had reached the sea-soaked sand. When I opened my eyes, I noticed the jagged heart around me and him, on his knees. He had the roses next to him on the sand and the ring between his thumb and his forefinger. The onlookers stopped to see the proposal as he stammered through the speech he had for me. I said yes before he had even finished. The next few moments were blurred as I cried and hugged him. We had a small picnic on the beach and then drove home as the sky began to get darker. Davin and I walked into my house together, hand in hand. My parents stared at my red roses and widely smiling faces and raised their eyebrows. My parents lived in Fairfield in Ohio while I had moved to the capital, Columbus. I had invited them over for the week to stay with me. They had known about me and Davin for a long time, but this was the first time that they had spent time with him and his family in Columbus. Good evening, father-in-law. My dad stared at my ring finger laced with metal all around it and opened his mouth to say something, but shut it back. Congratulations. Ah, congratulations. Mom came ahead to give us a hug while Dad kept sitting. I would have liked to notice, Davin. Oh, I'm so sorry, Mr. Morris. I hope you don't take it as a disrespect. I wanted to surprise her and all of you. I thought it would be expected since we have been so wonderful together. Yes, sure. We all chatted for a bit and sat down for dinner together, like family should. We discussed that we would plan our wedding in 8 months and have a winter wedding in January next year. After Davin left, my parents expressed their doubts about him, but I reassured them that I knew I would be happy with him. Later, on a call that night, Davin invited me to his house for dinner with his mom, Mrs. Evelyn. I had met her multiple times, but only as Davin's girlfriend, never as his fiancée. I agreed and went over to his house the next day. The dinner was pleasant except for a few snarky remarks from Mrs. Evelyn that I had gotten. I just ignored them and smiled at her. It felt as if months flew by. It was only 3 months to the wedding and we had prepared for everything except the wedding dress. It was very difficult for me to arrange a schedule that accommodated me and my family, along with Mrs. Evelyn, who wanted to join us for the dress shopping. She had insisted, and I agreed, as I thought it would be rude to say no to her. As we all sat down on the seafoam plush couches and waited for the shop to present us some options, Davin's mother began a rather bizarre conversation. I was looking at the wedding invitation the other day and something just seemed off. What's wrong with them? It mentions your name as Heather May Morris. Yes, that is my name. Well, I feel that you should just go with Heather Marie Morris. Why? Well, you know, my middle name is also May. It's just too odd for us to have the same middle name. It's my son's wedding and our names just clash. It's your son's wedding to her. Oh, Mr. Morris, don't trouble yourself with this stuff. Anyway, I have changed it to Heather Marie Morris. You have enough time to change it on your official documents. What? You altered my name on the invitations? And why should I change it officially? Well, let's not get feisty. It's only fair. I can't share my middle name with you. Isn't it enough that I'm sharing my son? I had told Davin about it. He said it won't be a big deal. He never mentioned any absurd request like this. I am not changing my name on the card or otherwise. Heather, let's not cause problems now. It's no big deal. May to Marie, it's such a slight change. I opened my mouth to speak, but just then our appointed bridal consultant came up to us, pushing a stand of hangers. She asked me to choose what I'd like to wear, and just as I was picking something, Mrs. Evelyn came forward with a long faded purple dress. This is perfect for you. I stared at the dress and then at her, with my eyes widened. Well, we usually keep that for bridesmaids or proms, but I could let you try it on if... Oh no, that won't be necessary. Mrs. Evelyn is simply joking. But I'm not. If you wear that, she pointed to the fluffy white dress the consultant was holding. All the attention will be on you. It's my son's wedding. To her. Dad excused himself for a smoke, and all of us, 4 women, including the counselor, stared at each other in uncomfortable silence. Maybe we should reschedule. The counselor nodded as I walked out, and my mom and Mrs. Evelyn followed me outside. As we sat in my dad's Jeep, I finally broke the silence. I'm not changing my name, Mrs. Evelyn, and I will be wearing a dress that I like, not a dress that would help you shine. You don't have to be so selfish, Heather. It's just your middle name. Nobody will even notice. About the dress, I believe you should let everyone have their moment, especially me. I don't know how it is for you guys, but I am a single mother, and Davin is my only son. This is my only chance. I can't do what you're asking me to do. Then maybe you should rethink this marriage. What? If you can't make these small compromises right now, I can't imagine how life will be for all of us later. Are you serious? Don't you think you're being unreasonable with me? All right, how about we discuss this through Davin? I watched Mrs. Evelyn roll her eyes and look out of the window. I met Davin for a late dinner and narrated the whole incident to him. Davin was extremely close to his mother, but I knew he would be able to see what is wrong and right. To my dismay, I wasn't entirely correct in my analysis. I understand, Heather, but my mother, you know how attached she is to me. It's just the name and the dress. It doesn't really matter. What? Oh my God, did you just assume I'd just do it? What matters is us. He took my hands in his and continued. We are going to get married. These are all trivial things. They don't matter. So what if your name changes? So what if your dress isn't the prettiest? It matters to me. You didn't mention any of this to me before. All these conditions, they are unreasonable. Like I said, I didn't think it mattered. You are being pressed about it for no reason. I can't believe what you're saying to me. We both sat in silence for some time, fiddling with a glass of water in front of us. I can't do this. Really, Heather? For something so trivial? It's our wedding, Davin. I'm the bride. And if I can't have a final say in an important event like this, I never will. Not with your support. I took off my ring and kept it on the tissue on the table. I could feel the nudge in my throat and my eyes burning with the tears, so I fled. I ran to my car and drove a little far. I packed my car and sobbed. Then I called my mom, who told me to wait there, saying she would pick me up. I didn't leave my house for days until, with time, I came to the realization that I had lowered my self-worth to the point where I was ready to accept Davin and his mom's unreasonable demands just so I wouldn't harm my long-term relationships. His relationship with his mom was toxic, and I had sympathy for him, but I couldn't sacrifice my life to be empathetic and understanding. I knew that years later, I'd realize that I dodged a bullet, and that helped me heal.